The Stoics, an ancient school of philosophy, believed that true strength doesn't lie in defeating external forces, but in controlling our own emotions. In today's world, this wisdom is more important than ever. Have you ever felt drained after a conversation with someone toxic? Toxic people can take a toll on our mental health, leaving us frustrated and exhausted. But what if there were practical ways to handle these tough situations? In this video, we'll talk about 13 Stoic-inspired ideas that will help you deal with toxic people with patience, balance, and even resilience. Join me on this journey to protect your emotional well-being and subscribe to the channel for more tips on strengthening your mind. By the end of this video, you'll be equipped with several tools from Stoic wisdom to effectively handle toxic people. So take a deep breath and let's get started. Number 1, identifying and understanding the toxic threat. Imagine you're a guardian at the gate of your personal castle. Your inner peace, physical health, and emotional security are that castle. Attention is the first line of defense to protect this fortress. Just like a guard needs to identify potential threats, you must recognize the signs that a toxic person is nearby. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who advocated for emotional control, reminds us in his book Enchiridion that it's not what happens to us that affects us, but how we interpret what happens. This advice is even more valuable when dealing with toxic people. It's not their negative behavior that holds power over you. It's your emotional response and how you perceive these actions that determine their impact on your inner peace. Developing a Stoic perspective, a calm and objective way of seeing the situation, is essential. Learning to recognize toxic behaviors is the first step. Below are some red flags. Constant criticism. Toxic people often find fault with you, your actions, or your choices. These criticisms may be direct or subtle, but they always leave you feeling discouraged and insecure. Manipulation. They often use tricks to get what they want, whether through flattery, emotional manipulation, or even threats to control your behavior. Constant negativity. They seem to live to complain and bring others down, always focusing on the bad side of things. In addition to these signs, there are different types of toxic people you should be aware of. The narcissist. Always seeking attention and approval, they may seem charming at first but will leave you emotionally drained. The gossip. They love to cause trouble by spreading rumors and creating conflict. The energy vampire. This type drains your energy. After talking to them, you feel mentally and emotionally exhausted. Understanding these toxic behaviors is like creating a mental map of the threats that can harm your peace. Just like a Stoic general plans their strategy to win on the battlefield, you can use this awareness to predict the actions of these people and prepare to protect your well-being. Number 2, strengthen your defenses. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic emperor of Rome. To rule such a vast empire, he needed power, wisdom, and a lot of determination. When it comes to strengthening the defenses of your inner peace, these same qualities are important. Your boundaries are the foundation of this fortress. When dealing with toxic people, your boundaries are the lines you draw to protect your emotions. You shouldn't let toxic people invade your emotional space, just as an emperor wouldn't allow his territory to be violated. Here, Stoic philosophy, which values reason and self-control, comes into play. The first step is to identify the behaviors that drain your energy or threaten who you are. It might be a friend's constant pessimism, a colleague's manipulation, or unwanted advice from a family member. Be honest about what you won't tolerate. The next step after setting your boundaries is to communicate them clearly. Tap into your inner Marcus Aurelius and be firm but fair. Here are some tips for communicating effectively. Speak from your own feelings and start sentences with I. Instead of saying, "Well, you're so negative," try, "I feel drained," when you always focus on the negative side of things. Be specific. Avoid being vague. Instead of saying, "I need space," try saying something like, "I can't talk right now, but we can chat later this week." Be firm but kind. There's a difference between being assertive and being aggressive. It's important to stand your ground with confidence but without hostility. Additionally, reminding others of your boundaries is something you'll need to do regularly. Being firm and consistent is essential, just like a ruler who's always alert to invasions. A weak boundary is easily crossed. If a toxic person disrespects your boundaries, calmly remind them of the line you've drawn. Sometimes reducing contact or even cutting off the relationship may be necessary. Remember, setting boundaries isn't about punishing someone, it's about protecting yourself. Envy, a vice that often fuels toxic conversations, was firmly avoided by the Stoics. By creating boundaries, you're not being selfish. You're simply looking after your emotional well-being and ensuring you have the space to cultivate inner peace on your Stoic path to a tranquil life. A solid fortress, marked by well-defined and guarded boundaries, is essential. Number 3, make yourself uninteresting to the emotional barbarian. Think of an emotional barbarian, fueled by negativity and constantly seeking drama. Certain toxic people behave like this. They thrive on your attention and emotional reactions, feeding off your response, hoping to provoke anger or sadness. They often attack with insults. The Stoic ideals of emotional control and indifference to external triggers inspire the gray rock method, which stands out as a useful tool in this situation. Paul Fredman, a therapist, developed the gray rock method. It's a strategy that involves becoming less emotionally reactive. It doesn't mean shutting down completely, but adopting an emotional stance like that of a gray rock, neutral and solid, offering no grip for negativity. To better understand this approach, we can look to the wise counsel of Seneca, a great Roman Stoic philosopher. Seneca reminds us that true happiness is found in enjoying the present without worrying about the future. This teaches us to avoid the need for attention. Toxic people often seek attention, whether positive or negative. By using the gray rock method, you prevent them from getting the emotional reaction thereafter. Amid the storm they try to create, you become uninteresting, like a dull stone. Neutral responses are your armor. The gray rock method involves intentionally responding to negative statements with neutral and honest replies. It's important to avoid getting drawn into emotional debates or justifying yourself. If you have a toxic friend who criticizes your work, you can deflect their attack by saying something like, "That's an interesting perspective," without fueling further negativity. Toxic people often try to control your emotions, so it's important not to get sucked into their emotional whirlwind. They may use sarcasm, emotional manipulation, or even aggression. In these situations, the key is to stay calm and respond with facts, refusing to engage in the drama. Remember, Seneca teaches that the path to true happiness lies in not being deceived by hopes or fears. You must not give them the emotional power they're seeking. The gray rock method is a powerful tool, but it's not a magic solution. Some toxic people may initially intensify their behavior, testing your emotional stance. Stay calm, be consistent, and remember that you're not responsible for their negativity. With this Stoic-inspired technique, you can transform from a passive victim into a firm observer, protecting your inner peace and emotional well-being. Number 4, the broken record technique. Imagine being the target of an endless stream of manipulation, a toxic person trying to wear down your boundaries with deceptive arguments and emotional games. Being on the receiving end of this kind of persistent attack can be emotionally draining and uncomfortable. However, the Stoic principles of firm reason and perseverance inspire the broken record technique, which serves as an effective defense. The broken record technique is a strategy designed to counter deceptive tactics. It involves calmly and repeatedly stating a clear position, just like a broken record repeating the same message. This technique, though simple, is highly effective at deflecting attempts to distract you and keeping the focus on your needs. Stoic philosopher Epictetus is a central figure in Stoic philosophy, so let's explore this technique through his wisdom. His quote, "Freedom is the only good," highlights the power of perseverance. This freedom includes the ability to set your own boundaries, as well as the freedom to say no without needing to explain yourself. This principle is illustrated by the broken record technique. You can show your firm resolve and prevent the manipulator from sidetracking you by calmly and consistently repeating your point of view. Manipulators often use emotional strategies to gain the upper hand. They may try to manipulate you with flattery, emotional blackmail, or even anger to get what they want. With the broken record technique, you can avoid these emotional traps and stand firm in your position. You can sidestep attempts at emotional manipulation and stay focused on logic, concentrating on the clear statement of your position. Constantly repeating your stance can unsettle the manipulator, as the repetition serves as a defense. Their conversational flow is disrupted, they become disoriented, and the flaws in their arguments begin to show. Imagine a wave crashing against a solid rock. The rock remains while the wave dissipates. Contrary to what some may think, the broken record technique isn't about confrontation. Staying focused on your position while calmly enforcing your boundaries is key. Remember, Stoicism places great value on reason and logic as guides for handling life's challenges. By using this technique, you empower yourself to resist manipulation and protect your inner peace with determination. Number 5. Don't fall into the trap. Imagine a skilled fisherman casting bait made of negative thoughts, hoping to hook you into a whirlwind of emotional drama. They throw out provocations, insults, or guilt, hoping to get a reaction that fuels the drama and negativity. This is a tactic that many toxic people use. However, Stoic philosophy offers a strong defense: indifference. This doesn't mean complete lack of interest. Rather, it means being emotionally distant from the situation. Stoics, especially philosophers like Epictetus, made a clear distinction between apathy and indifference. For them, apathy was a lack of interest, while indifference was a detachment from the emotions and negative judgments that distort our reasoning. When dealing with toxic people, this distinction is crucial. Here's how Stoic indifference can help you avoid falling into drama. The first step is to recognize the trap. Identify the signs that a toxic person is trying to grab your attention. What exactly is it? A sarcastic comment? A disguised insult? Or guilt disguised as a favor? When you recognize the trick, you weaken its power. The bait is cast to provoke anger, frustration, or defensiveness. So it's essential to step away from this emotional trap. Stoic indifference, on the other hand, is a choice that allows you not to engage emotionally with the negative side of the situation. Imagine that you don't bite the bait that's in the water. You calmly observe it without being affected by its potential to provoke. Let the drama fade away. When you don't respond to negative comments, their power diminishes. Without a response, the drama they try to create finds no fertile ground. When there's no response, the insults lose their strength. You don't have to turn into a cold, unfeeling person. Stoicism promotes the expression of positive emotions, but it teaches you to distance yourself from negative emotions that are beyond your control, focusing on what you can change. You stop being a passive participant in their drama and become a calm observer, applying Stoic indifference. This shows that you won't get caught up in their emotional web. Preserving your inner peace is a refuge that remains unshaken by the storms others try to create. Number 6, the art of not reacting. Imagine someone who is a master of sharp words, thriving in heated discussions. There are toxic people who find comfort in this environment. They use words as weapons, aiming to provoke anger, humiliate, and drag you into emotional conflict. This is where an underrated yet highly effective Stoic strategy comes in: the art of not reacting. When used consciously, silence can be a powerful weapon against verbal attacks. However, silence is not something easy for everyone. The impulse to respond, to defend yourself, or to try to win the argument is often something we are trained to feel. Stoicism teaches us the importance of controlling our reactions, and silence at the right moment is a sign of true control. To better understand the power of non-reaction, we can turn to the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic emperor. When you don't react, you disrupt the predictable behavior pattern of the toxic person. They expect a response, but by not giving them what they seek, you weaken the toxic dance. Lack of reaction breaks this cycle. By choosing silence, you deny them the emotional response they're waiting for. Imagine a tennis player hitting the ball hard, but the other side of the court is empty. The ball falls and silence prevails. From this perspective, silence is not empty. It communicates something. It shows that you have self-control and that you won't yield to their negativity. The message sent is one of strength and distance from emotional manipulation. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we shouldn't waste time arguing about what it means to be a good person. We should simply become one. The qualities of a good Stoic are demonstrated through silence. You are calm, rational, and not shaken by external provocations. Be prepared for escalation. By applying non-reaction, know that the toxic person may try to intensify their attacks, throwing more verbal insults your way. Stay calm and persist in your silence. Remember, silence is not a sign of weakness, but a powerful tool of the truly strong. Non-reaction may not work in every situation, but it is a valuable weapon in your Stoic arsenal. It has the power to disarm toxic people, protect your inner peace, and show that you control your emotions. By choosing silence, you send a powerful message as you decide not to play their game. Number 7, limit your contact. Imagine you are inside a fortress where your mental health is carefully protected by clear boundaries. However, even the strongest walls cannot completely prevent threats from outside. Toxic people, like persistent invaders, may try to breach your barriers. This is where the Stoic idea of controlling what is within your reach comes in. While you can't change these people's actions, you can control the time you spend with them. One of the best forms of defense is to reduce contact with toxic people whenever possible. Create physical distance. Can you avoid contact entirely? Maybe you can reschedule a commitment or politely exit a conversation. Remember, this isn't being rude, it's about protecting yourself, just as a wise leader wouldn't send their troops into a senseless battle. There's no reason to expose yourself to unnecessary negativity. However, it's not always possible to completely escape the situation. Sometimes these people are part of your work, family, or close friends. In that case, it's essential to establish an emotional barrier. Some strategies for this include: Epictetus, an important Stoic philosopher, teaches us that happiness and freedom begin with self-awareness. This concept highlights the importance of emotional detachment. This doesn't mean ignoring your emotions, but understanding other people's negative behavior without letting it affect your stance. Practice this detachment by observing their behavior objectively without getting caught up in your feelings. Mental restructuring. Toxic people often try to mess with your feelings using negative attitudes. Mental restructuring, inspired by Stoic concepts, can be very helpful in this situation. Transform their negativity into a neutral observation. For example, if a coworker is always complaining, look at the situation differently. It seems like they're having a tough day, instead of letting their attitude get to you. Toxic people feed off negativity, so it's important to focus on the good things in your life, like your interests, your work, or the supportive friends you have. Let those positive factors serve as an emotional shield, protecting you from the weight of negativity. There's nothing wrong with limiting your contact, both physically and emotionally. Taking care of your inner peace and practicing self-care are essential steps. Stoics valued a life lived with ethics and reason. By reducing the time spent with negative people, you create space to cultivate a healthier and fuller inner life. Imagine your fortress surrounded by a moat, which serves not only as a physical barrier, but also as emotional protection against the negativity of these people. Number 8, strengthen your support system. Imagine yourself as a guardian at the gate of your inner castle. Your defenses are fortified with boundaries. You've learned the art of non-reaction and reduced the number of toxic people around you. However, even the strongest warrior needs trusted allies to protect their position. Your support system is your line of defense, essential for maintaining your inner peace amid the battle against negativity. Stoics, like philosopher Seneca, emphasize the importance of living in harmony with nature. This includes surrounding yourself with virtuous people who support you, inspire you, and share your values. In tough times, you can turn to them for support and guidance. These are the people who listen to you, offer wise advice, and encourage you. A good support system acts as a shield against the influence of toxic individuals. Dealing with these situations can be draining, and having a safe space to share your experiences and vent is essential. Trusted friends or family offer the understanding and empathy you need, reminding you that you're not facing this alone. Toxic people may try to undermine your self-esteem, but an effective support system is a force that uplifts you, reminding you of your strengths and the value you bring to the world. The support of these individuals reinforces your resilience and keeps your flame burning bright, especially when negativity tries to extinguish it. Stoics believed it's important to surround yourself with people who possess the qualities you wish to develop. A network of strong, Positive individuals serves as an example. You can learn from their strength, resilience, and optimism, which strengthens your own ability to cope with challenges. Building a solid support network is an ongoing process. You need to nurture the relationships you already have and seek out people who share your values. Here are some ways to do that. Invest in quality time. Make time for meaningful conversations with those in your support circle. This creates a genuine connection, whether you're listening to their stories or sharing your own. Joining groups, participating in volunteer activities, or engaging in online communities that align with your interests and values is a great way to find people who can naturally become part of your support. And never underestimate the power of expressing gratitude. Thank those who support you for the positive impact they have on your life and for their constant encouragement. Cultivating a strong Stoic defense allows you to build a powerful shield that protects you from the negativity brought by toxic people. Strength, a positive outlook, and a renewed sense of optimism are what you gain when surrounded by positive influences. Always remember that even the most fortified stronghold can benefit from solid external defense. Your support circle, made up of trusted friends, becomes your unyielding defense, ensuring that your inner peace remains safe and secure. Now let's talk about number 9, which emphasizes the importance of prioritizing self-care. Being around toxic people is like facing a constant attack in battle. Your emotional energy is drained, and you may end up feeling exhausted. When it comes to protecting yourself from negativity, self-care becomes a crucial part. Just as a Stoic warrior would tend to their wounds and prepare their sword after a fight, a Stoic lifestyle should include self-care as a fundamental aspect. Incorporate self-care into your daily routine and view it as an investment in your mental well-being. Give it the same priority as other important tasks and set aside time in your schedule. You can renew your emotional energies, and your resistance to negativity can be strengthened through self-care practices. Engage in activities that bring you joy. Discover activities that genuinely bring you pleasure and help you relax. Physical exercises like running or yoga, or creative activities like painting or writing, are excellent options. By engaging in these activities, you can relieve stress, replenish your emotional energy, and return to the world with more vitality and clarity. Stoics practice mindfulness techniques similar to meditation. Through meditation, you can calm your mind, disconnect from negative thoughts, and create inner peace. When meditation becomes a regular part of your self-care routine, you gain a valuable tool for managing stress and negativity, whether it's your own or from toxic people. Finding peace in nature was highly valued by the Stoics, who believed in living in harmony with the world around them. Spending time outdoors, whether on a walk in the park or on a hike through the woods, positively impacts our health and well-being. If you want to relieve stress, improve your mood, and gain a new perspective on dealing with the negativity you encounter from toxic people, try connecting with nature as a way to maintain your emotional balance. See self-care as an essential part of your life. A rested and peaceful person is in a much better position to handle negative emotions. Just as a Stoic warrior would ensure their armor is strong and their sword sharp, you can strengthen your emotional resilience by practicing self-care. Pay attention to the signals your body gives you. There's a constant communication between you and your body. Notice signs of fatigue, tension, or emotional exhaustion and address them. Don't wait until you're completely worn out to prioritize self-care. Incorporate healthy habits like eating well, getting enough sleep, and taking breaks throughout the day. These simple practices are the foundation of your emotional strength. Just as you set boundaries with toxic people, you should also set boundaries for the time you dedicate to self-care. Politely saying no to requests that might interfere with your rest time or reserving specific moments in your day for activities that promote self-care are ways to do this. Remember that taking care of your well-being is not selfish. It's a necessity to protect your emotional health. By incorporating self-care into your Stoic lifestyle, you become a more balanced and stronger person, able to face challenges with clearer vision and renewed emotional strength, just like a Stoic warrior. It's essential to keep in mind that by maintaining your emotional energy, you'll be better equipped to resist negativity and spread positivity, creating a strong shield against the toxic people around you. Number 10, remember, it's not about you. Imagine a dark cloud hanging over your head, spreading negativity and blocking your view of the world. When dealing with toxic people, you often find yourself in situations like this. They create a heavy atmosphere by projecting their own insecurities, worries, and problems onto others, resulting in negative impacts on those around them. The concept of pro-soc from Stoic philosophy serves as a powerful shield in this scenario. We are encouraged to see ourselves as rational observers, keeping a distance from emotional storms. By using the term pro-soc, which Stoic philosophers employed, we become objective analysts, distancing ourselves from negative emotions and focusing on the logic of the situation. When dealing with toxic people, it's essential to maintain this distance because the insults and negativity they express are often not about you. They reflect their internal struggles. You can navigate the toxicity of these individuals by applying Stoic detachment in the following ways. To deflect attention from their own flaws, toxic people often blame others, criticize, and express negativity. With a Stoic mindset, you can recognize this projection for what it truly is. Emotionally distancing yourself will allow you to observe their behavior with neutrality, like a scientist studying a phenomenon. You'll realize that their negativity is a reflection of their internal state and has nothing to do with you or your worth. By stepping back from the situation for a moment, their behavior ceases to be an attack on your character and instead becomes a signal of the problems they face. Think of the dark cloud. While it may cast a shadow, it has nothing to do with the ground it temporarily covers. The sun is still shining brightly above. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. This emphasizes the need to focus on your Stoic path. The time we have is enough as long as we use it wisely. If you want to avoid wasting your precious time and energy, you must distance yourself from the negative energy of toxic people. Keep your emotional distance, take care of your health, and continue on the Stoic path that will lead you to a life of virtue and tranquility. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. While it's possible to have compassion for their problems, you don't have to be dragged down by the emotional storms they experience. You can protect your inner peace and emotional well-being by practicing Stoic detachment, transforming yourself from a passive target into a balanced observer. Always remember, no matter how dense the clouds are, the sun continues to shine above them. Number 11, don't try to fix people. The urge to correct, help, and play the therapist can be very strong, especially when dealing with a loved one involved in harmful behaviors. However, within Stoicism, this often leads to frustration and emotional exhaustion. When it comes to fostering change, toxic people, much like plants choked by weeds, need their own willpower and effort. This change cannot be imposed by someone else for various reasons. Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what you can control, your own reactions and attitudes, rather than trying to change a toxic person. The responsibility for a toxic person's actions lies entirely with them. They need to consciously choose to confront their negative emotions and seek a path toward virtue. Trying to shoulder this responsibility for them will only create a toxic relationship and prevent them from taking responsibility for the issues they face. One of the pillars of Stoicism is accepting what is beyond our control, such as other people's actions, external situations, and changing life conditions. The negativity of a toxic person is a clear example of this. By accepting this fact, you free yourself from the futile effort of trying to change them. Think of your inner peace as a flourishing garden. This is your focus within the Stoic garden. The toxic people in your life, with their negative attitudes, are like weeds threatening to choke the growth you've worked so hard to maintain. You are wasting your time and energy trying to uproot the weeds from someone else's garden. Focus on what truly matters to you, like building positive connections, nurturing your virtues, and practicing self-care. On the other hand, Stoic philosophy highly values the act of helping others find virtue. If you feel inclined, there are ways to encourage a toxic person to reflect on themselves. However, it's important to remember that there are limits. Instead of trying to dictate the path they should take to change, offer resources that might inspire them to think. This could include a book on good communication, a therapist's suggestion, or even a gentle reminder to consider the consequences of their actions, depending on the context. The most meaningful way to influence others is by demonstrating Stoic principles in your own life. This is the most effective way to lead by example. Number 12. When to walk away. Imagine you are seeking refuge in the tranquility of your Stoic sanctuary. You have developed your emotional detachment, cultivated a healthy inner garden, and built walls by setting boundaries. However, despite all your efforts, the negativity of a toxic person continues to threaten your defenses. Knowing when it's time to step away from a situation is one of the most important lessons of Stoicism. Deciding to leave a toxic relationship, especially when it involves family members or coworkers, can be very challenging, but prioritizing your mental health is essential. Stoics believe in the importance of living a moral life and acting with reason. Maintaining a relationship that compromises your inner peace goes against these principles. Therefore, Stoic philosophy advocates for stepping away from harmful situations. Keeping your Stoic sanctuary safe. Your inner peace is like a sacred sanctuary, a refuge you build through self-care, mindfulness, and Stoic practices. Someone who is toxic with their constant negativity is like a siege on your castle. You can protect your emotional well-being by distancing yourself from that situation. Focus on what really matters. Seneca, a great Stoic philosopher, reminds us that life is precious when he says, "All future is uncertain. Live immediately." Staying in a harmful relationship is a waste of time and energy. By stepping away from what holds you back, you give yourself the chance to invest in positive relationships, meaningful activities, and experiences that nourish your spirit and lead to a fuller life. Accepting what is beyond our control is a fundamental part of Stoicism, and other people's behavior is a prime example of this. Additionally, Stoicism teaches detachment. Choosing to walk away is not a sign of weakness or defeat, but rather accepting a situation you cannot change and choosing to let go of negative emotions. You are not giving up on the person, but rather on the toxic relationship that is affecting your mental and physical health. Moving on is not something to be done impulsively. Consider these points. Have you tried all other options? Have you talked about it, set boundaries, or offered help? Is there a repeated pattern of negativity, or was it just a one-time thing? Do you feel this relationship is significantly impacting your well-being? You don't need to create a big scene when distancing yourself. Gradually reducing contact, politely declining invitations, or simply limiting communication can be effective ways to do this. Remember that stepping back is a Stoic act to protect your inner peace in a form of self-care. You can live a life guided by reason, virtue, and peace if you prioritize your well-being. This will allow you to create space for positive relationships and experiences to flourish. Number 13, forgive yourself. Imagine this situation. You're about to embark on a long journey, carrying a heavy backpack full of hurt and anger caused by a toxic person. This weight slows you down, hinders your progress, and drains your energy. In the Stoic context, forgiveness is seen as the act of releasing that emotional weight, not to help the other person, but for your own sake. Stoics highly value the idea of accepting what is beyond our control, and the behavior of others is a prime example. Holding on to grudges and resentment towards someone who has brought toxicity into your life perfectly fits this concept. Clinging to those negative feelings will only harm you, poison the present, and disrupt your future. Stoic teachings give you the opportunity to forgive yourself and let go of the burden of negativity in the following ways. Look within yourself. For Stoics, true power comes from the ability to control your own thoughts and actions, rather than the actions of others or events happening around you. To regain control of your inner world and make room for peace and emotional balance, the first step is to forgive yourself and then release any lingering resentment you may have. Forgiveness, according to Stoics, doesn't mean approving of the toxic person's behavior, but rather recognizing and accepting it. Accepting what happened, acknowledging that it's beyond your control, and choosing to move forward with a lighter heart are essential steps. The famous Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not over what happens outside of it." By making this truth a part of your life, you find your strength. Forgiveness gives you back the power to control yourself. Break the cycle of negativity. Resentment is a prison you build for yourself. When you hold on to it, you allow the toxic person to keep affecting your life, even if they are no longer present. Breaking this cycle is possible through self-forgiveness, freeing yourself from the emotional chains of the past. Forgiving yourself doesn't happen overnight. To cultivate forgiveness, consider these steps to get started. Acknowledge your feelings. The first step is to admit your feelings of anger, pain, or hurt. When these feelings are suppressed, it only delays healing. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and care you would offer a friend in a similar situation. You were not only hurt by the toxic person, but also by their behavior. Try looking at the situation from a different perspective. Did the person act out of malice, or were other factors at play? Shifting your viewpoint can help you develop empathy and understanding, which may pave the way for forgiveness. Forgiveness is a gift. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. By letting go of the weight of negativity, you open up space for emotional healing, growth, and a lighter life. Imagine now that you continue your journey with a lighter backpack, a calmer heart, and ready to embrace new experiences ahead. With a renewed sense of strength and peace, you have the power to stop being a victim of toxic people and transform into a resilient protector of your inner peace by applying these 13 principles inspired by Stoic philosophy. Remember, a life free of negativity is a life worth living. Leave a comment below sharing which of these ways you are thinking of adopting or any questions you have about how to get started. Your comments and stories are what make this community so special and supportive. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our future content. We have many more tips and ideas coming your way that you won't want to miss.